Dear students, welcome to Swayam Shikshaa. This is Ram Sudhir. The intention of this video, basically, we are starting off with videos, or we call them as themes for UPSC prelims. So one of the biggest challenge for the student is to identify important areas for prelims. So that is the reason we are going to come up with a thematic approach where the whole syllabus, in fact, the important syllabus for prelims, will be divided into different themes. And what we try to do here is, we'll try to explain the concepts behind the particular area. And subsequently, we will start solving questions. And once the concept is clear, we'll also see what kind of questions can come up in the future from a particular theme. Okay, so we have somewhere around 100 themes. And we have themes from economy, polity, geography, modern history, etc. And one of the most important aspect is, in these 2 months, we have to spend our maximum time on those subjects which will fetch us definite marks. For example, 1 is modern history, 2 environment, 3 economy, 4 polity, mapping and geography. So we have to be very clear with respect to those areas where we will be in a position to grab marks. And we try to understand, it's not about reading everything that is there. Rather, we have to go through the question papers very properly to understand what really is required for the prelims. Now, in every subject, there are areas from where there will be 100% questions. And this we have divided into different themes. And these themes will be explained for conceptual clarity, number 1. What kind of questions have been already asked, number 2. Number 3, what can be asked. If the concept is clear, there is no point in there's no question of making any mistake with respect to that particular concept. So this is the idea of this particular video. And today we will be starting up with the first theme. And the theme is money supply. Now, there were many questions with respect to this topic called money supply. And it's quite a tricky topic in the economics. And UPSC is always asking simple and easy questions which we often get confused. Today I'll show you 2 questions and then we'll go ahead with understanding the concept. And once you understand the concept, any question on money supply should be a cakewalk for you. Now let's do this. So first let me show you a few questions here. The first question here, this was a question that was asked earlier in UPSC. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which of the following? And he has given some options: increase in CRR, increase in banking habit, increase in SLR, increase in population, etc. So this is something like the data that is given. There was one more question. If you withdraw rupees 1 lakh in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, the immediate effect on aggregate money supply in the economy will be. Now, there were several discussions on this question. Some are saying this is, UPSC. There were different answers given. But the thing is, it's clearly given, the immediate effect. So we'll try to understand the concept behind this. And then we will go to the questions. And any question on money supply after this discussion should be easy for you. Okay, so let's go to this discussion. Let's try to understand. First of all, to understand these questions, first of all, we have to understand what is this money supply and how bank is able to create more deposits and is able to rotate its money in the form of loan with certain amount of money. So first what we will try to understand here, if you see this, I have put something here. I said initial deposits, the loan that the bank is giving, and I have written something like LRR. Okay. And this LRR is nothing but legal reserve ratio. Legal reserve ratio. Now, what is this legal reserve ratio? This is the amount which the banks are maintaining in the form of reserve, and that money they are not going to use for lending. It can be either CRR, it can be either SLR. That money the bank is not using it for lending. This is what we have to understand. So that is what is called as legal reserve, the amount which the bank is putting aside. Now with limited amount of deposits, the bank is able to rotate the money and it is able to create a multiplier effect, money multiplier effect. Now this money multiplier, when I use the word money multiplier, let's try to understand the basic formula here. Money multiplier is nothing but 1 divided by this legal reserve ratio. Let's try to understand this. 1 divided by the legal reserve ratio. Okay, suppose there is 1,000 rupees that is entering in the form of deposit into the bank. Now legal reserve ratio, I'm assuming the legal reserve ratio to be 20%. 20%. So what is happening here? 200 rupees is going in the form of legal reserve ratio and 800 rupees is coming in the form of loan. Very simple. Now out of 1,000, 200 has gone as legal reserve ratio and 800 has come up in the form of loan. Now this 800 is again entering into the banking system because loan also will get into the bank immediately. Now this 800 is the deposit, and from this 800, again 160 should go into the legal reserve ratio and 540 will be coming in the form of loan, will be getting rotated in the form of loan. Now this process, now this 540 is going to come here, and in this 540, 128 is going in the form of legal reserve ratio. Now the question comes up, this cycle is going to continue. This cycle is going to continue till which point? This cycle will get continued till this initial deposit will become equal to the reserve. Till this becomes 1,000, this cycle is going to continue. So this cycle will stop when the complete 1,000 which has entered has gone into the legal reserve ratio. So if this becomes 1,000, so obviously if this is becoming 1,000, then that means if 5,000, this becomes 5,000. So 20%, that is 1,000 is going in the form of legal reserve ratio and loan will be how much? 4,000 rupees. Now what is understanding here? With 1,000 rupees as initial deposit, the money multiplier effect was almost 5 times. It became 5,000. So money multiplier here is what? 5 times. 5 times. 1,000 has become something like 5,000. So the multiplier effect in this case is how many times? 5 times. So what we should understand is money multiplier is equal to 1 divided by the legal reserve ratio. Okay, so 1 divided by 20%. 1 divided by 20%, that is nothing but 5. 5 times. So this is the multiplier effect. This is how the banks will be able to multiply the money. Now this is how this multiplier effect is going to increase the money supply in the economy. Now what we should understand here is, as and when banking habit of the population is increasing, there is more money that is moving and automatically the multiplier effect is going to increase. So money multiplier is going to affect as and when more financial inclusion is there, more deposits are coming into the bank and there will be more of multiplier effect. Now this is what you should understand. Now, is there any change with respect to immediate effect? Immediately no, but over a period of time, there is a multiplier effect which you can observe here. So this is the basic understanding of multiplier effect through an example. Now we'll try to understand the different ways of money supply, the types of money supply. So here if we see, when I use the word money supply, RBI uses different measures to measure the money supply. And what I have written here is M1, M2, M3 and M4. M1, M2, M3 and M4. Now what we'll try to understand here is, when I denote the name M1, or in simple words, if I have to talk about money supply, it is nothing but whatever money that is there with the public. Money that is there with the public. So money that is there with the public in hand plus money which is there, the public money which is there in the banks. Public money that is there in the banks. In simple words, the money which is there in the hand of the public plus the money which is there in the banks. As simple as that. In basic connotation, in basic understanding of money supply is this only. That means it does not include other banks' deposits in the bank. It is only public's money. So when I say public's money, it means government's money which is there in the bank should not be included. Other banks money, other banks money which is there in the banks in the form of deposits will also not be part of money supply, as simple as that. And money which is maintained in the form of reserve, that is you're putting that money in CRR or SLR, you're maintaining it as reserve, that is also not going to be part of money supply. So this is the basic understanding. When I use the word here, if we try to understand, when you use the word net, when I use the word net demand and time liability. So what is this net? We'll try to understand here. So in simple words, this is what is money supply. And there are different measures which are used for measuring money supply. M1, M2, M3 and M4. Now M1 is seen as the most narrow. The meaning of narrow is the quantity is less. Okay. When I say M4, it is the widest of all because it is including all the entities. Now, if you observe this squared, this rectangular box here, now I have written currency, then I have written banks, then post offices. So people can hold money in the banks, people can hold money in the post offices. Now, M1 is the most narrow connotation, which includes, number one, it includes currency in the hands of the public, and it includes the demand deposits. So demand deposits are those deposits which can be removed by anybody on demand. Okay, so these are the most liquid deposits. So here I have written demand deposit to the bank. So when I use the word M1, M1 will include currency which is there in the hand. It can be currency and coins in hand plus the demand deposits in the bank. It does not include the term deposits in the banking. It does not include the post office deposits, whether it is demand or term. This is what we should understand. Now, when we talk about M2, so M2 will include the currency in hand. M2 is including the currency in hand. So that is M2 includes whatever is there with respect to M1. So that is what is the understanding. Okay, so it includes the demand deposits with the bank, and it does not include the term deposits with the banking system, but it includes the demand deposits of the post offices, and it does not include the term deposits of the post offices. Now this is the observation here. So M1, M2 includes currency plus the demand deposits. Okay. It does not include the term deposits with the bank, and it also includes the demand deposits of the post office. Now M3, which is also called as the broad money, M3 we call it as the broad money, and M1 is called as the narrow money. Narrow is because you are not including everything. Now when I use the word broad here, M3 includes the M1, whatever is there in M1, so currency in hand plus demand deposits. Okay. It also includes the term deposits with the banking system. Okay. But it does not include the post office related deposits. Post office related deposits. M4 will include all the four. M4 will include all the four. Okay. So M4 is the broadest of all. Okay. And M1 is the liquid of all. Liquid, why it is liquid? Because M1 does not include any term deposits. Any term deposits. So in terms of liquidity, M1 is the most liquid and M4 is the least liquid. In terms of quantity, M1 is the narrowest of all and M4 is the broadest of all. So if we try to understand here, okay, so M1 will include currency in hand by the public plus demand deposits of the banking system. Demand deposits of the banking system. So I've written it demand deposits of the banking system. Okay. So M2 will include M2. So here if we see M2 will include M1, whatever is there in the hands of M1. So M1, that is currency in hand plus demand deposits, plus it is also going to include the demand deposits of post offices. Okay, so it is including the demand deposits of post office. Okay. Now M3, which is the broad money, M3 which is the broad money, it includes whatever is there in M1, plus it is also including the term deposits with the banking system. Term deposits with the banking system. Okay, so when we talk about money supply, okay, so money supply generally we are trying to measure it through M3, or we are talking about the broad money because it includes the money in hand plus the deposits which are there, the public's deposits with the bank. Okay, so M4 is equal to, it includes M3 plus, okay, M3 plus total post office deposits. Total post office deposits. So this should be clear. So once this is clear, the concepts will be very simple. For example, now suppose there's 1 lakh rupees that is removed from the account. So here I can write M3 in a different format. If you see, I can write M3, if I take M3 as the total money supply, M3 is equal to M1 plus CC, currency in hand, plus demand deposits with the banking system, plus the term deposits with the banking system. Term deposits with the banking system. Or I can also write it as CC plus net demand and time liabilities. These deposits I can write it as net demand and time liabilities. Net demand and time liabilities. So total, why this net? This net is nothing but the total deposits with the bank minus the interbank deposits which they are using. So bank deposits, other banks' deposits in the bank will not be part of money supply. So that is the reason this N, this net is basically, when I'm using the word net demand and time liability, that is I'm talking about the deposits. So it does not include, this net is because out of the total deposits in the bank, I'm deducting the interbank deposits. So the other bank's deposits which are put here will not be part of my money supply. So this is what we should understand here. So it becomes CC plus NDTL, and NDTL should be clear, net demand and time. The word net here is basically because you are removing interbank deposits. So bank and government, they are money creators. So they are not going to be part of my money supply. So their money in the bank, okay, so one bank's money in the another bank, that is not going to be included in the money supply. So when I take this broad money M3, okay, so M3, I've written M3 only here. So now there are different types of questions which are asked. Okay, so one question is, the question that they were asking is, if I remove some 1 lakh rupees from the bank and holding, now what is the immediate effect? Now the question should be read very properly. If you withdraw rupees 1 lakh in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, the immediate effect on the aggregate money supply in the economy will be immediate effect on the aggregate money supply in the economy. Now the question here is, now the question comes up, through multiplier effect, the money multiplication can increase if the money is there in the form of deposit. Now this is the doubt many students get. Now if 1000 rupees is coming, now you have removed this 1000 rupees from the bank and you are holding it in the form of cash. But if it is there in the bank itself in the form of deposit, there will be multiplier effect, and that multiplication will increase the money supply in the economy. But the question is, what you should understand here, the question did not ask, the question was something like, what the immediate effect on aggregate, immediate effect. So the question is talking about immediate effect. There is no much impact on the immediate effect on the money supply. Over a period of time, yes, money supply will decrease if you're removing, but immediate effect of money supply in the economy will be. So immediate effect, there will not be change. So why immediate effect there will not be change? Now if you talk about the money supply here, M3, suppose M3 is equal to, we said, the currency in the hand plus the demand deposits plus the in the bank plus the term deposits. Now when you are removing money from the demand deposits and you are holding it in the form of cash, you are holding it in your hand, the overall money supply, the overall M3 in the initial immediately, there is no change in the money supply. The overall money supply remains same because from DD it is going into CC. DD it is going overall money supply. But the question comes up, if it is for over a period of time, then yes, there will be reduction because the multiplier effect is going to reduce. Now, this is the understanding. So, whether it is immediate effect, so since it is immediate effect, there is no change because immediate effect M3 remains same. M3 remains same. So, this is the understanding which we should have for this particular question. Okay. Now, once that is clear, things will be very easy. So generally we make mistakes because our concepts are not clear. So in the money supply, once we have understood this, then look at the questions. So the money multiplier in an economy increases with which of the following? Now this was a question. Okay, and the answer is increase in the banking habit of the population. Now why it is increase in the banking habit of the population? Now more financial inclusion, more people are putting money in the bank, then automatically the multiplier effect will increase. See here the multiplier effect is 5 times. So multiplier effect will depend on the legal reserve ratio. If the legal reserve ratio is reduced, then multiplier effect will be more. If instead of putting 200, if we put only 100, means 900 will be coming in the form of deposit and more money multiplication effect. So more banking habit, more people are putting their money in the bank, then the multiplier effect will be more. If there is less LRR, legal reserve ratio, if CRR and SLR is reduced by RBI, then also there will be more multiplier effect. So this is what you should understand. So blindly just don't try to mug up the concept. It's very important to understand. Tomorrow question is something like not the immediate effect. Or tomorrow there can be questions in the format like this. So if you see the formulas also, this is the basic idea of the basic idea of the formulas here in this table. But you will also find sometimes currency in circulation plus demand deposits plus at times you also find one more here, other deposits. Now remember this other deposits is also part of M1 means these other deposits should also be liquid. So when I'm saying something that is part of M1 means it has to be liquid, narrow money, it is the most liquid. This other deposits is not bank's deposits. Bank's deposits will not be counted in the money supply. When I'm putting other deposits, it is not the bank's deposits. It can be some deposits like other deposits with RBI. When I say other deposits with RBI, suppose RBI governors, earlier RBI governors accounts are there in the RBI. Now these are also liquid and that is the reason they are part of M1. They are part of M1. So other deposits does not mean bank's deposits with the bank, bank's deposits with RBI or bank's deposits. It's not bank deposits. No interbank deposits will be counted as part of money supply and bank's deposits with RBI also. So it is not bank's deposits with RBI. It is something like RBI governors deposits or IMF accounts deposits. Now these should also be liquid. So this is what you should understand. These other deposits also should be liquid. Okay, and this other deposit component is very limited. That is the reason generally they write the formula as CC plus DD. Okay, so they generally don't mention this other deposits. But if at all it is mentioned, don't get confused that it is bank's deposits. How come bank deposit becoming part of money supply? It's not bank's deposits. These are other deposits with RBI and these are also liquid deposits. Now, once the concept is clear, going to the questions is going to be very easy. So this is the end of the first theme, which is money supply. And I hope I made your concepts clear. Please go through the video. Please check the previous questions. We'll come up with 100 such themes from all the subjects. And I hope we are adding value to your preparation. If you like it, please do comment in the comment section. Thank you.